We're going to start the meeting. It's okay, Leslie? Leslie?
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Chair. We're ready.
Okay. Is there anybody from the public on the phone with this meeting?
No, there is not.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to start the Streets and Roads Committee meeting of August 23rd, 2021. This is a virtual meeting. We have a draft agenda, and I'm going to call the meeting to order. I need an approval of the agenda.
So I've just got one business arising from the minutes, Mr. Chair, and that's going to be parking signage in Exshaw.
Okay.
And then I'll move it if there's nothing else.
I don't have anything. Okay. Thank you. Minutes of the August 8th meeting.
Sure, I'll move
Any
them.
concerns?
No.
Thank you.
August 8th or August 9th?
Let's got August 8th.
August
here.
9th.
Is it?
Yeah, it should be August 9th. That's right.
Okay. Thank you. You need to correct the minutes, the agenda
The agenda.
of August the 9th. So business rising, Paul, parking signage in Exshaw.
Yeah, so I asked the question at our last meeting about the signage because I haven't seen any changes, and the minutes say that he wasn't directed to do anything to move forward on it. So what's happening with that?
Through Chair, nothing is happening with it. As the part of that discussion we had back in August was the issue with Sandy Beach, and that is on the council agenda tomorrow. But I've got no direction, and I have no complaints about people wanting to have extra signage put around the hamlet of Exshaw. Okay. So if you have other information, Paul, I'd gladly take that. I know we put a ton of signage up, some of it in Exshaw, especially dealing with fires and so forth, and OHV use, those who did that in Harvey Heights as well as Dead Man's Flats, and a little bit of signage also in LDA.
Okay, so we're waiting on council then to deal with Sandy Beach.
Sandy Beach is on the agenda for tomorrow.
Yeah, I see. I know that. Okay.
Okay, thanks, Rob. No delegations, no unfinished business, so we're under new business. And page 3, road inspection and maintenance policy, T29. Bill?
Yes, so this policy was just generally discussed last year in draft. Since then, we did hire a consultant who looked at our secondary roads and classified them as either rural access road lane or an emergency access lane, or determined that they should be considered undeveloped. So this policy has been revised to reflect the language and the classifications a little bit. It's and then part of it too, there's an attaching map. So this policy itself and Schedule A, the MD Bighorn Road Network map, would replace part of the road development policy T16, which is the next agenda item. And then it would also replace the visual inspections policy T14, which is the last agenda item. I didn't throw these on. They're not included as part of tomorrow's council package, just in case there were significant changes or changes that the committee still wanted to discuss. So all 3 items could be brought forward to September council meeting or later as the committee sees fit.
Rob, when we get things like this, is it advisable to wait for the new council or finish them off in this council?
I finished through the chair. I'd finish them off with this council. If there are no concerns from the Streets and Roads Committee, I think it's a good thing to clear it off the board and get count and have that ready for a new council and not have to worry about this. You've been looking at this for quite a while. I think it's time to close the door on this one.
Any disagreements? I agree with you.
No, I
get this
agree
off.
with that too.
Thank you.
The new council is going to have a lot on its plate. And so I'd be quite happy to see this get through.
Yeah. It's a pretty comprehensive document, Bill. I looked at this one thoroughly and then compared it to the one that we had, T14, which is a one-pager. So a lot of
Yes.
work went into this.
It's quite thorough and extensive, and there's a lot of unique issues that Bighorn faces with our road network and our location on the eastern slopes.
Yeah, I think you've done a pretty good job on it. So I guess we need a motion to take this to council in September.
Yeah, I'll move, Mr. Chair, that the Streets and Roads Committee forward this to council for consideration.
Thank you. Okay, road development policy T16.
Yes, so the proposed changes are to reflect the new proposed policy T29. It's not a comprehensive rewrite of policy, the road development policy T16. It's just to take out the definition of the MD controlled roads and use the primary, secondary roads, and then go into a little bit more thoroughness. I did notice, just as I said, that there's a header that said MD controlled roads. I'll have to change that. Header on page 16 of our document, I'll have to correct that when I do bring this forward to council.
Bill, could you point that out, please?
I'm sorry?
Could you please point that out on page 16 exactly where it is?
It's just the header under MD controlled road.
So that whole section should be removed then?
No, just the header replaced because we're not using the word controlled.
So how will that number work then? It says applications for a road development plan. So is that going to go from the previous page, number 1, number 2, and then under empty controlled roads, those become 3, 4, and 5?
So numbering would work the same. It would just be the header. I'd rename the word MD controlled roads. I'd have to read the context of that. So on page 16 of the agenda item, right after bullet 2, in addition to the conditions outlined in this policy ... there's the header MD controlled roads.
And
I'll
what's
have to
that?
change that header.
To what though?
I've got to read the context of it.
I'm not sure I get it, Bill. Is it just a name?
It is in this policy. We've taken out the definition of MD controlled road.
And replace it with?
Primary roads.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
I'll change the header so it's appropriate for the following bullets.
Okay, I have a couple of questions, and they have to do with rural residential access roads. my understanding of that is that when this is for very low volume traffic, in other words, one or two houses and homes, and that it isn't meant to be a thoroughfare for public traffic, and so the what I didn't get is what the standard would be, other than it would have to be determined by a professional engineer, acceptable to the MD. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, the standard itself is defined in Schedule B, the road design and construction specifications.
Schedule D?
Schedule B.
Okay. Where is that? Can you take me to that?
It's
Page
not,
number?
the whole document's pretty thick. It's not being changed, so it's available on the website.
Okay, okay. And once that road is rural, residential, that, okay, back to the right page. Once that road is approved, the MD does not maintain or inspect it. Is that correct?
That's correct. It
Rural
becomes
residential access road.
That's correct.
Pardon me?
It becomes a secondary road, and it falls under our road inspection maintenance policy T29 at that point. So we wouldn't maintain it.
Now, what? And I'm sorry if I missed it, but what would something like Coyote Creek fall under? That'd be a secondary road or
Nope.
a primary road?
Coyote Creek's classified as a primary road.
Okay, thank you. So if you go to page 18, everything on, it seems like everything on that is crossed out.
Yes, we've discussed this before, that we've got both a map and the table, and the map will replace the table in its entirety.
Okay, and I noticed the map has all the new road designations, road names that have changed over the years. So
Yes, it does.
That's been
It does, and I believe we captured quite a bit of that in the memo for the agenda item.
yeah. Thank you. I don't have any questions on it, so unless you have any questions,
I do.
Paul, would you make a motion?
Not yet.
You got a question?
Yep, I have a concern, actually. So,
Okay.
from what I'm reading here, is that the road that goes to the school and the school parking lot in Axshaw is now to be considered a primary road.
Right now, there's a little portion of it. And if you could give me a little second here. And I'll be one more second. It's this section here that we added.
Hang on one second. I'm just trying to go back and forth through the agenda. But that doesn't go to the parking lot.
No, and then we'd have to have that as a future discussion with the parking lot, but it's to give access from the back alley to Mount Allen Drive.
Yeah, and so my concern is that if we are to consider that to be a primary road, which under the definition makes it a public road, then so there is on okay, so I can see it on the road allowance, and basically the primary road stops at the maintenance building. So I think there should be some terminology in the definition when you're referring to, because it says to the school parking lot.
Yeah, the border, the definitions in the map, which isn't at a high level detail, it would be to the end of the road allowance at the parking lot. So I can fix that for the council agenda item.
Yeah, because that's not what it says in the definition, in the description.
Okay.
What it says is to the school parking lot. And the problem with that is that there's 2 parking lots at the school. And one of them abuts on an industrial property. And if that was to be defined as a primary road, then it would become a public road. And then it could be used as an access road into the industrial property. And then that will drive a significant increase in traffic up through that residential area. So how do we fix that?
Well, actually, the mapping is correct. It doesn't show it on page 9, and the mapping matches this. So I'll just say to the road allowance immediately east of the school grounds and school parking lot.
And that the public road terminates
Yeah,
at the road allowance.
I can sure add that,
Okay.
the wordage.
Well, because at one point in time, there was an initiative by the industrial property owner to use the road to the school as the employee entrance to the industrial facility.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure we've got sufficient wordage in here to keep that from happening.
Okay.
Bill, I just got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you just drop that red line and bring it right down and then terminate it right at the school parking lot?
Through here?
Up in the road allowance.
That's
Yep.
just a mapping correction that we have to do online.
No, that's why wouldn't you just continue that red line along the road allowance and then terminate it right at the parking lot?
There?
Yep.
As Councillor Ryan said, he doesn't want that to be a public road.
Well, it's a government road allowance right now.
It is a government road
portion.
allowance where the line terminates,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not a public road from the road allowance to the school parking lot. It's on private property.
Okay, so is that wording going to be sufficient then?
Well, it's
Well, I
based
haven't
on the
seen the wording.
mapping. It's based on the mapping, and then when we draw up, that's how we've got it defined. We don't have it defined here.
So what you're saying is the red line is a primary road, and the pink part is the secondary road.
No, the red line is the primary road.
Yeah.
The blue
Got that.
line is our secondary roads, and this pink is Rob, do they call it MSRW, MSWR?
Yeah, it's municipal school reserve, but
Yeah.
that's for the school.
So this is technically a road allowance. So this is where it terminates, right at that road allowance in the property line.
I got it. Okay.
So if you can put the wording in there, Bill, that the primary road terminates at the property line to the school,
Okay.
and take away any reference to the school parking lot.
Okay.
Anything else, Paul?
No, that was the only thing that I saw in there.
The
So, Bill, on page 12,
Mm-hmm.
where it says the following changes are noted on new mapping. There doesn't need to be a reference to primary road added connecting school parking lot to Mount Allen Drive.
No, I just wanted this in the cover page to the memo that we did make some changes and added that little piece.
Sure, but you know, when people are arguing a position, they go back to purpose and intent.
Yeah.
And in here right now, the intent, according to your staff report, is to have the primary road added connecting the school parking lot to Mount Allen Drive. So I believe any reference to that should be removed.
Okay, yeah, I've heard that and I will make the changes.
That's probably the cleanest way to do it, I think. What do you think, Rob?
Yep. Just
Yeah,
keep it simple.
take out the reference completely.
Yeah, just remove the reference. That way, in the future, there's not going to be any argument about what was your purpose and intent.
Okay.
Other than that,
Another
I'll be
question,
fine with it.
Okay. With respect to the rural access road again, Bill, if person wanted to build a an isolated residential access road, that would, does that have to go to council?
Most definitely.
Yeah, there needs to be a
Okay.
caretaker agreement.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, Paul, going back, would you make the motion then with the amendment? that you-
Actually, recommend that it be forwarded to council for consideration as amended.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question about that? Do you want to say recommend for consideration or just recommend approval? We have done recommended approvals before.
I think, yeah,
It's,
I took it as
Paul's two
recommended
motions, so.
approval.
Sure. It's just the reason I was thinking consideration for both of these is that in the rural parts, the real rural parts of the MD of Bighorn, outside the hamlets, roads have been a very contentious issue for as long as I can remember. And that's why I thought consideration was appropriate. But I mean, when you send it to them for consideration, what are they going to do? Consider approving it or consider not approving it? Or they may amend it.
That's okay. We could stay with it. I just think approval just gives a little more definitive, a definite response from the Streets and Roads Committee.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I would say that that's probably friendly to amend it that way. So I'll reword my motion for recommend to council for approval as amended.
Thank you. Great. Okay, Bill, you're on again. Page 26, expression policy. I presume that that's just rescinding that policy.
Yes, that policy will be rescinded and replaced in its entirety with the road inspection maintenance policy T29 as proposed.
I just, one question here. I've got a blank page on page 24. Page 24 was intentionally left blank, or?
Yeah, it must have just been how the consolidation of the agenda item, of the agenda package.
So maybe just a note in the minutes that page 24 was blank.
Yeah, mine's blank as well. So.
Well, usually when you have a document that has a page intentionally left blank, it's intentionally left blank to add information in later.
Okay.
So just to note that page 24 was blank.
With no intention of filling it in there later, but yeah, okay, I got it. So, Bill, back to page.
Yeah, page
26.
26 and page 27, it's just the current visual road inspections policy T14. And that one's back from 1998. And
Yeah.
that was replaced with T29.
So that's gonna, council has to rescind that, correct?
That's correct.
I'll need a motion from you, Paul, I guess, to recommend the council to rescind that.
Yeah,
Fine.
just give me 1 second here. I'm just scrolling back. Sure. I'll make a motion that we recommend that council rescind that policy and replace it with 29, is it?
Yeah, 29.
Just I'm working off my laptop here, looking at the agenda package, and it takes a while for me to scroll through. Yeah, okay, sure. I'll recommend that council rescind policy T14 as part of their consideration of policy T29. Because they're tied together, aren't they?
They are.
That's correct.
Well, it took a long time to get to this, these policies, but they look pretty good, Bill. A good job. I think they're pretty complete for what we've got today, and I'm pleased that we are taking this to the September meeting because we may have new councilors in October that don't know anything about the streets and roads. So
Actually, the October council meeting will take place prior to the municipal election, unless council changes it. Yeah.
Oh, that's correct too. Yeah, I forgot that.
But best to have a very light agenda for your October 12th meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll make it like a Seinfeld episode where everybody will bring cake and.
Okay, I think that's all the agenda items we have. So I need a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, I don't think we've got anything else here, do we? Is there anything else, Robert, that we need to be concerned about?
That's it. Very efficient
Okay.
meeting.
Good. Have a great
Sometimes
day. Thank
it's
you.
like that. Not always like that. Actually, it's generally never like that. But anyway, good. Okay.
Well, I hope you didn't break any speed limits coming home, Paul, for this meeting.
I have no clear recollection of that, officer.